Welcome to Brampton Focus. If you've been currently watching Brampton City Council, you may hear a consistent voice on the council floor. As a matter of fact, that consistent voice has been in the service of the people of Brampton for over 29 years. That's a long time to be elected. My name is Michael A. Charbon. Next we meet Gael Miles, Regional Council for Wards 7 and 8 from Brampton City Council, right here on Brampton Focus. Welcome to Brampton Focus. Well, it all started in 1982, that's a long time ago, as the founding executive director of the Brampton Safe City. Then in 1988, my next guest dipped her toe in politics, and to this day is still on Brampton City Council, representing Wards 7 and 8. And you talk about bringing good things to Brampton. In 2007 and 2012, my next guest was instrumental in having the World Health Organization acknowledge Brampton as a safe community. I'd like to welcome Gael Miles to Brampton Focus. Welcome.
Thank you very much, Michael. Pleased to be here.
1988.
Yes.
That's a long time in council. You've seen the mayors come and go, the reign of Fennell, the reign of Jeffrey. I mean, that's quite something. When you look back and see how much Brampton has changed, you must feel almost like a grandma, because all the kids have grown up in a sense. I mean that in the nicest way.
Well, I am a grandma, and I love being a grandma, but for me, I really love this city. I think the city of Brampton is an amazing city. I've always been a champion of this community, and it's a role that I like to play. I think City of Brampton often gets a bad rap when in fact it's a pretty amazing city, and we have a lot to be proud of here.
Yeah, Brampton gets stereotyped a lot, but when you see the amount of people who contribute to Brampton and hold hands and work together in the city, it's quite something. I want to go to my first topic, and we're going to talk about a couple of things. We're going to talk about the LRT. We're going to talk about regional government. We're going to talk about the future and a little bit about what's going to happen in Wards 7 and 8, and as you look forward. Brampton, through the Blue Ribbon Committee, has been fortunate to secure a university in Brampton. We've got a new healthcare center. All these things have started to come to Brampton. The one thing that's missing is the connectivity. And we come to the topic of the LRT. When Brampton was first put in the position that there was $1.6 billion available to have connectivity with Mississauga, it was turned down. Did the city make a mistake to turn down the LRT?
Well, I absolutely think that the city made a mistake in turning down the $1.6 billion and the LRT. But it wasn't just, what they did wasn't just turn down the connectivity between Mississauga. That route was the beginning of making the city of Brampton a part of a regional transportation network. So in fact, what it meant is if we had that connection from GO train to GO train, that it was the beginning. The next step of the journey, and we already had some commitments from Metrolinx, was we would take the GO train, not the GO train, the LRT, to the boundaries of Brampton in the north. Mm-hmm. And they had also started the work on the east-west connection. So what that was going to do was connect Brampton to the GTA, which means that anybody who worked anywhere in the GTA, anybody going to school in the GTA, anybody going out for entertainment anywhere in the GTA would be able to do that through light rail transit. So that was the big loss for the city of Brampton, was first the money, and then that connectivity to a regional transportation network, which would basically take them anywhere in the GTA.
When you say a loss of money, I had the opportunity to speak to Navdeep Bains, who is the Federal Liberal Minister of Economic Development and Technology. And he has like $1.9 billion from the federal government to inject into the region appeal. And one of the problems was there's a huge chunk of that to Brampton. There's no shovel-ready stuff ready to go.
So there was a vote, as you know, just last week, to look at alternate routes for the LRT. And even though I was a strong proponent, still am, of the Highway 10 transit system, Brampton has to get ready, and it has to get ready for something. So we live in a democracy. Council made a decision. The vote failed. Now we have to figure it out what we're going to do next, because the provincial and the federal government collectively have announced $364 billion in infrastructure dollars.
And they can't do anything unless the council gets their stuff together.
That's right.
But the biggest problem, I mean, I've received some messages. I mean, you can see it, $4.4 million for a study. Now, with all due respect, and you know, I respect environmental studies, impact, etc. When you look at this graphic, it's highly evident to the average person that there is a direct route from one GO station to another GO station. $4.4 million, it could take 2 years to get this done.
Well, I think the study will probably take 2 years. The reality of the fact, though, is, Michael, that this council turned down the route through the downtown.
So was it a political discussion? Some would say that it was a political discussion because certain people who were on the route didn't like it coming down their street. Whereas if you look at other people who are proponents of the university that's coming to Brampton, that is the natural route to have it take. So was it more politics than logic?
Well, we're kind of beating a dead horse right now. I mean, this council is not going to change its mind.
Yeah, but the people of Brampton have fed the dead horse, they've raised the dead horse, and they want it to gallop now, right?
I know, but in my mind, what's important for Brampton is we find a preferred route, that this council makes a decision, finds a preferred route so we can get on with the job. We don't know what the future is going to hold. Maybe in the future, a new council will find a way to make it down Hurontario Street. I don't know that, and I'm not willing to take the chance on my city. I want my city ready to go and be part of the regional transportation system. So one way or another, council made a decision. We've been, I know the mayor has been quite upset about it for a long time, but in my mind, it's time to get on with the job. Well, you know, we can only cry about it for so long.
So what's the next step? We've got $4.4 million to do a 2-year study to decide what the alternative routes is. That's a heck of a lot of time when you've got federal, provincial people saying, we want to spend some money, we want to put some transit in your city.
Well, you know what, we have other things happening in the city of Brampton. Another major project going down the center of downtown is the River Walk. And that is an amazing project that we have been getting some dollars from the federal government for.
Yes, I'm not discounting it, but LRT is a key. The Riverwalk is nice and that's wonderful, but LRT is so crucial for connectivity for the city.
It is. Transportation is key, and that's why last week when we had to make a decision and our Commissioner of Public Works said, Brampton needs a preferred route. We have to get on with the job. If you take, in my mind, if you take Kennedy Road is, if Hurontario is never going to be it, Kennedy Road to me is the next best move.
But people are saying that the university, the university that's coming to Brampton is going to be inside the city. They don't want it to be rural. They want it to be more of an urban university location. Yeah. Nothing's been said, but the point still is the location of the university, the hospital, all those things are all central. Either way, you're still trying to connect to Steeles, right?
The Kennedy Road, if they put the map back up, the Kennedy Road route shows you that it will go by the new hospital campus and it'll go directly into the GO train station, which should feed students to the university. That's my, if we have to pick a second, my second is Kennedy Road, because by the time it's built, the land will have started to change hands. We'll see some economic development and benefit from that. We will be connected to the hospital. We've just approved another new healthcare facility right on Queen Street. So thousands of jobs in the new hospital and then into the GO train station. So as I said, common sense says Main Street was the route, But council said
I
no.
hope you're right. I hope you're right. I wish we could make that decision. It's very important.
So do I.
Gael
tried.
Miles, regional councillor for Ward 7 and 8. When we come back, we're going to talk about regional governance, where we talk about Safe City, when we talk about other programs which need help. It's Fair Share Appeal that is going there and saying we represent 67 people or 67 organizations that need your help. When we come back, Gael Miles talking about Fair Share Appeal right here on Brampton Focus. Back right after this. Welcome back to Brampton Focus. My guest has spent 29 years on Brampton City Council, Ward 7 and 8, Gael Miles. 29 years. After all those, have you ever thought of running for mayor?
At one point I did think about running for mayor, but you know, Michael, as a regional councillor, I feel that I can do the kind of work that I like to do in the community. When you're the mayor, you become in a lot of ways an ambassador or a figurehead, and you're really, in my estimation, you don't have enough time to really deal with some of the key issues that are at the grassroots level that's impacting the community. And those are the things that I like to do.
Well, 29 years of service and being re-elected, I mean, that is a testament to your success.
Thank you.
We said in this segment, we're going to talk a little bit about regional governance. When we talk about regional governance, we talk about how many seats does Brampton have at the Region Appeal? What is our population? What is going to be moving forward? You can see from our graphic, there's definitely a deficiency in seats. And as Mississauga can't grow, Brampton will. How can we solve this problem? How does Brampton get its fair shake?
So Brampton has been asking since 2004 to have all of its members sit at regional council. So the city of Mississauga, when you're elected, you sit at city council and regional council. But what happens in Brampton, we have 6 people go to the region and 5 people stay at home. And as a result of that, members of council have to represent 2 wards.
How are they determined?
So
How do you determine which councillors go to the region and which don't?
well, you run for regional council or you run for city council. Right. The inequity at the Region of Peel is that since 2013, we have only had 29% of the vote, and we've had 40% of the population. Right. And we just got the new census data out, and Brampton is the second fastest growing city in Canada. And we have grown 70,000 persons in the last 5 years since the last census came out. And Mississauga has barely grown at all, about 6,000. So I have the numbers here just as a demonstration for you, Michael. In Brampton, a councillor represents 87,000 people, and a Mississauga councillor only represents 63,000
So what can we do to change this? What can we do to change? I mean, is it not a provincial edict? Because it's a triple majority to have it changed. So Mississauga's already said that they're not going. How do you get the provincial government to address this?
So the Municipal Act states that you need to have a triple majority. Well, Mississauga, we just went through a process which was about 8 months long. At the end of the process, the facilitator said Brampton, based on rep per population, should have 10 seats, which means all councillors go to the Region of Peel. And Mississauga went back to the city of Mississauga and turned that idea down. So they've said they will not support that. So our only hope at this point in time is to appeal to the Premier and get the Premier to make the changes the same way as Hazel McCallion did in 2004, when Judge Adams had said, even back then, Brampton should have 10. The province of Ontario stepped in, gave the city of Mississauga 2 more seats, and Brampton won.
So if it was based on the province, then could Mayor Jeffrey, when she was in provincial politics, have assisted to move that? Or a better question is, because of her experience in provincial politics, would there not be open lines of communications to be able to at least nudge that a little further to some conclusion?
Well, Michael, I'm really hoping that the mayor will be able to use her influence with the Premier of this province. When you look at the Region of Peel, the budget there is over $3 billion billion a year. And we are dealing at the region of Peel with people's lives, those in our community that are most vulnerable, like the young and the old. We're
And the new
dealing
immigrants.
with new immigrants. We're dealing with policing. We're dealing with childcare, homes for the aged. So it's really important that the City of Brampton has the appropriate representation there in order to ensure our fair share of regional dollars and regional infrastructure.
So it's a snowball going down a hill. It's gaining momentum. It's getting larger all the time. How do we really stick a fork in it, as one would say, and say we're done? We need to get this done. We need to get this moved. Is there the necessity for Bramptonians to gain a grassroots movement, to petition the Premier? How do we begin to move forward to make some results on this, to be able to get better representation?
Well, I think absolutely. It's about time that we rallied the community. We did that in 2004. Didn't do us too much good at that time. But certainly the inequity there is so blatant that I think it's pretty hard for the Premier to ignore. But public opinion, public support, getting our MPPs involved. We've actually, at the last meeting of council, I asked the staff at the City of Brampton to move forward and arrange a meeting with our MPPs. We got to get them on side as well.
Brampton's all Liberal. I mean, it's red except for Jagmeet Singh, which is the NDP. I mean, but I think he would still. I don't speak for Jagmeet, but I would perceive that he would be on board with that because he represents the people in this community as well. Is there any time frame that we can look forward to getting some resolution to this?
Well, we have to do it quickly. I mean, we've been asking since just after the election to have regional representation changed at the region of Peel. So now we've gone into 2017. At the last regional council meeting, I raised the issue. Mr. Swark said that they were moving forward, looking to find a triple majority. So it's just a lot of red tape, which is absolutely a waste of time, going to go nowhere. We need the Premier to step in and do the right thing for the citizens of Brampton. Regional Councillor Gael Miles, representing wards 7 and 8. You're watching Brampton Focus. When we come back, we're going to talk a little bit future. What's in store for Brampton? What are some of the highlights that Councillor Miles sees? My name is Michael A. Charbon. You're watching Brampton Focus. Back with more and our final segment right after this. Welcome back to Brampton Focus, our final segment with Regional Councillor Gael Miles for wards 7 and 8. 1988, she was first elected to council. You don't look worse for wear, my dear. You look excellent. Thank you. So nice to see your energy and still your commitment to helping the people of Brampton. When we look forward to the future and the good things that are happening, the university is one of those things. You sit on the Blue Ribbon Committee. Can you update us on anything new or anything that we may not know about with regards to the university coming to Brampton? Well, I think most of the information is actually out there now, and there is a website that you can go to at the City of Brampton. So, and it has questions and answers. So if people have some questions that they want to find out about, then they should go there. So what we know is it's going to be probably downtown. It's going to be one of 3 major universities who are going to be the head of it. So you have York, you have UFT, and we won't say with the Ryerson maybe, and they're still vying. Do we have any idea when we're going to get a decision? So in this new proposal that the province has put out, they have said they will pick our partner. They will pick? They will pick the partner. We initially thought that the City of Brampton would pick a partner. So we were out there having discussions, doing interviews, talking curriculum, but the province has said no. They will pick the partner, but they have laid out in the proposal call some of the things that are the expectations that they have of the municipality. And it's really quite interesting because they're talking about a new concept, a new kind of university that we haven't seen before. And they're talking about... In what way? They're talking about the municipality and the university having partnerships with business, with the business community.
Technology-wise, manufacturing-wise, is there
All of them.
All
of them. They are looking at municipalities working with the universities to ensure that when people graduate from university, that they're ready for the labor force, because a lot of the studies that the Premier's panel did showed that that when people graduate from university, they're really not ready for the workforce.
So what do you think a university will do for the city of Brampton?
Oh, we've done an economic impact study on the benefits for a university coming to the city of Brampton, and the economic benefit is great in terms of dollars, in terms of bringing business, in terms of bringing people, in terms of revitalizing our downtown. It just in providing opportunities for people, the youth who live here, to go to universities here. So a huge economic benefit, and it's all, we've got that documented now.
Time frame wise, when do we think that we're going to start to get some solid answers so we can start to look ahead for some benchmarks of when things are going to get put in, or shovels?
So right now we're working with the province of Ontario, working with the universities, we're meeting with the business community. The province talked about working with war vets that have come back.
It's going to have Bill Davis's name on it, do you think? He's on the Blue Ribbon Committee. Maybe, yes, no? Well, of a wing, the Bill Davis wing.
The last meeting of the Blue Ribbon panel was last week, and they've decided that it is time now for them to wrap up their role and hand it back over to the municipality.
All right, well, that's not too much new information, but we're all positive moving forward. Let's go to our next topic. We're going to talk about transparency. I mean, for a little while, when Madam Mayor Linda Jeffrey was running, it was all about transparency. We heard all these things about deficits and debts. Can you give me an idea? How does Brampton sit financially? Are you in the ditch? Are we good? Are we close? Where are we in Brampton financially from a standpoint of the city health?
Okay, so this is a subject where the mayor and I differ in opinion. And I will say that because I was chair of corporate services for many years and chair of the budget, and so was really in tune with what was happening in the municipality. So the mayor, when she was elected, the city of Brampton had a AAA credit rating and no debt. And I guess after the first quarter, it became a AAA negative, but that was because we hadn't done our budget until the new year because of an election. So I believe that the city of Brampton is very sound financially. When Jim MacArthur came out and he did his report, he talked about cash in the bank, he talked about a AAA credit rating, and he talked about ways we as a municipality could improve. One of those ways was that we needed to put more money in the bank for infrastructure.
An emergency fund, right?
And you always have to have an emergency fund. So he talked about those things, but he never said that we were not in a good financial position. Brampton has been in a good financial position for a lot of years. There's a C.D. Howell report that keeps coming up, and at one point they rated the city as a D. That had nothing to do with our financial situation. It had to do with an accounting process that the city wasn't using, and that was an accrual form of
what someone at home is going to say is Brampton on budget? Are you in a huge deficit? Is the city... So no.
We're not. We're not in a huge deficit. We have no debt. So
that's healthy.
Yes, we have cash in the bank. We are saving for our infrastructure. We did 2% last year, 2% this year. So we are putting money away for the future. So the city of Brampton, I mean, if your son or daughter came home with an A on their report card, you'd say that was good.
Yes, ma'am.
And if it was a double A, you'd say that was really good.
Even better.
And if it was a triple A, that would be very, very good.
I'd pay for dinner.
That's right. So City of Brampton has had a AAA credit rating for a very long time.
So we got about a minute left, just under that. I know that you're the vice president of the Peel Housing Corporation. There is something that you would like to do for the people of Brampton as our population starts to age. And I got about 40 seconds. What is it that you want to accomplish? Which is very important, I think.
Okay. Okay, so the Peel Housing Corporation is a not-for-profit housing provider, and we have in the region of Peel one of the longest waiting lists in the province of Ontario.
So your objective is?
So with Fair Share for Peel, again, we need to bring in more funds to this municipality, but we as a not-for-profit housing corporation have to find new ways of doing business as well.
Well, we want to focus on seniors, correct?
Or
and where do you want to put
seniors
it?
in the city of Brampton. We have 2 senior centers, one major center, Flower City, with over 5,000 members. We need one in the east side of town.
We need one on the east side of town. Gael Miles, Regional Councillor for Wards 7 and 8. I thank you very much. 29 years of service and going, and she will run again, I tell you, and it's all good. Thank you, Gail, for joining us here on Brampton Focus.
Thank you.
I'm Michael Charbon. Michael A. Charbon, I should say. We'll be back with more Brampton Focus in our next meeting. Thank you very much for watching, and always tune in to bramptonfocus.ca.